is it collaborative? Is it like, all right, this has been like handed down like the 10 Commandments and now I need to recite it word for word? Or do you have a little flexibility?
Thankfully for me, it's not like that, and it's not like that for this guy either. Where we get a promo, and sometimes there'll be lines in it, right? And so that you have to hit, and they'll often be the lines that you're like, that doesn't sound like she would say that, but for the most part, it's we've gotten to the point where we've gotten enough equity and we've gotten enough trust that, you know, we get to write our own promos, and you know, it's usually a collaborative process where, if I'm comfortable with my writer, but well, what do you think of this? And you know, I feel like it's got to hit more, and I think we could do more with this, and a lot of the times, you know, they'll come up with a good line, and then it's a bit collaborative that way when you've gotten that equity. But I think when you first come up, like when I first came up, I was too scared to say anything out of turn. I was like, oh, these are the words on the page. I must say every single word exactly as it is on the page. Thankfully, it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, no, I know.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, man, your book is so good, and it's so funny, and it's so well written. And so thank you, by the way, for sharing it with me, and for letting me be one of the first people to read it, because I'm not the fastest reader in the world, but I read that in a matter of days. Like, and I was trying to avoid texting you all the time to be like, LMAO or whatever it was, but just like, oh yes, this is brilliant, because every chapter was so good, and my mind is blown by how well you remembered everything. Like, there's so many great, hilarious stories that you tell so well and so vividly, and the fact that you had such a long, detailed story career and were able to remember everything is just mind-boggling to me. I don't know how you did it, especially because I feel like sometimes when we're on the go so much that stories start to blend into each other, certainly for me. Yeah. And the fact that you were able to do it and write that book so well is just amazing.
No, I appreciate it. You know, like, as I've been saying, there's so much stuff I don't remember, and so many times people are like, oh, do you remember when, you know, we did that thing back in St. Louis in, you know, 2007? Like, no idea what you're talking about. But the stuff I do remember, I remember really, really well, you know, because I've been telling the stories for so long and doing this. And by the way, I don't know, I did The Rock just come on the chat and suggest me and him versus you and Seth at WrestleMania? Because, you know,
did he just do that?
I don't know. I might have seen it. It's flashing by. I'm self-conscious. I want to make sure the book's in the frame. I want to make sure my Met hat is on right. But I thought I saw it for a second. And yeah, that would be a horrifically bad idea. But I definitely appreciate the.
Oh shit! There it is. Rock and Brian versus Becky and Seth. All right, I'm down.
You know who's taking the heat in that match.
Yeah. I'll psych myself up for the hot tag. You know, from Rock. You know, as soon as you get your heat on Rock, he'll tag me in. Deafening silence from, you know, all of SoFi Stadium or you know, whatever the name of the field is, and yeah, we go home, because if I get tagged in, we need to go home, like, immediately. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah, I think that would be a main event in any arena. That would be so just
certainly so fun.
Proved in 1/4, so awkward and disappointing. I'd rather stick to me versus Instagram, because, you know, I got at least, you know, some history behind that. But yeah, that would be very cool. I would, you know, I didn't think I'd be doing podcasts. I never in my life thought I'd be doing Instagram Live, considering I'm not on Instagram. So, you know, if that would be fun. That would be funny if that was like The Rock's, you know, calling WWE and was like, I got good news and bad news. Good news is I'm in for Mania. Bad news is it needs to, like, be this very specific match. You know, you remember, of course, everyone remembers WrestleMania 10, Bam Bam and Luna versus Doink and Dink. Well, here is the modern day version of that. here's the match that will bring so many memories of that classic, you know, whatever it is, 29 years later. You know, I can't wait for it.
Hell yeah. I'm down. At least
Yeah.
now we know we're booked.
Yeah.
We're booked.
Yeah, there you go.
If Dwayne says we're booked, we're booked.
Yeah, that's right. You know, that's half the battle right there, is getting booked. This is so surreal. Like, you know, these stories. I remember texting with you when I first started this process in 2020. Guaranteed, Rock does the job for Seth. Yeah, well, that would be a finish that they would not be expecting. I'll say that much. That would, main event in any arena across the country. But I remember texting with you, and you know, we were each kind of like giving each other advice in terms of like, you know, you're talking to me about the pandemic era shows and performing in front of no crowd, which had to have been very, very weird. And you know, me floating book ideas and stories and stuff like that by you. So I'm really glad we were able to work together on SmackDown and just continue, you know, the relationship and continue, like, you know, being in touch and everything after that, because well, you know, for real, because I've seen your Twitter and I don't want to get on your bad side. You're an absolute savage on that. I remember leading the building to Rhonda and poor Ronnie and Flair and Charlotte. I was like, you need to be friends with this person.
Well, you know, like you even say it in your book, you know, if it sure, it might ruffle some feathers, but if it gets the audience excited and if it makes money, well then all fair game, right?
Oh yeah. I think it's in the book. You know, if Rock is watching, there's so many times, you know, Jerry Briscoe, bless his heart, he's a friend, but I'm surprised he is a friend of mine, because there's so many times I'd be sitting next to him or Billy Kidman, and they'd have their stopwatch, and the promo is scheduled for like 15 minutes, and the Rock music hits, and he goes out there, and he's like going to both sides of you know, the stage, and then he gets in the ring, and it's like Jerry's like, is he gonna start talking, Brian? I'm like, he will, any second. 15 minutes, 7 minutes has already time come up. He hasn't even said anything, you know. And then the promo would go, you know, maybe 10, 15 minutes heavy every time, you know. And then, you know, I would be like, you know, hey, like The Rock says, you can't rush greatness. It's going to happen. That's why literally every 5 seconds, if you recall, we were in, you, me, Corbin, Rock, Hiram, we were all going, you know, over the promo. Every 5 seconds, there would be a new WWE writer who'd knock on the door and be like, you're not going to go over time, are you? Like, this is the premiere of SmackDown. Literally every segment is timed to the absolute limit. You can't go heavy. And I'm like, well, you're going to be the one gorilla. I'm going to be out in the crowd. It's going to be your problem, buddy.
If I recall correctly, I think we went under time.
Yeah, I think we literally went 2 seconds under, which that's the biggest swerve in the history of wrestling swerve. Yeah.
Because I was the match after. I was the match after, and we didn't lose any time. I believe we went under. I think we went under. Yeah, he's saying he doesn't buy it, but I think we went under. I don't think we went over the time. Yeah,
that because that promo that went down in history. Like, the audience is buzzing, everybody's thrilled about it, and backstage we're all just like, we hit our time. We didn't go over. Oh, but did the crowd react? Who cares? The time. But you know, it was great. It was such a thrill, you know, to be able to, you know, you and Rock doing doing moves in tandem. Yeah, I need to shut the fuck up. That's what I get nervous. I talk a lot. So,
but he said
over the conversation.
He said, Brian. He said, add him.
What's that?
Rock said, add him. He said, stop yapping and add me. I don't know how to do that stuff.
I don't know how to do that. Let me see. Hold on.
I think that's your domain. That's your domain.
Let me try this. This is all new. Okay, I think I did it. Does that work? Hold on. Okay.
There he is.
Yeah.
Ah.
Big party here. Big party on the Instagram today.
Big party on the Instagram Live.
Up, brother? What's up, the man? Becky,
What's up? Where you at right now? Dwayne, where you at?
I'm at the crib, man.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, how you guys doing? Where you guys going?
Going home. We got a napping baby, and so we've been taking advantage of it by getting ice cream.
Yeah. Good.
Salt and straw. Actually.
Salt and straw ice cream, by the way. We have to try it we have to try all the seasonal flavors every month. So we went and we got ourselves some ice cream.
Oh, now I know. I'm gonna send you guys a shitload of salt and straw.
Well, we're gonna have to get a new freezer at the house.
It's gonna be perfect.
We already got a bunch in the freezer right now.
Brian, what's up, man?
What's up? I didn't know you were asking to be added. I've never done Instagram before.
I was fuck up and look at my thing. I'm added. I'd like add
But
me.
it goes so fast. I don't understand it. And then I'm like, oh, The Rock, I think, said something. And Becky's like, add The Rock. I'm like, well, I always like to add The Rock to our conversation. I've been talking about him for like 20 minutes. Like, no, shut up. Literally press the button to add The Rock. You don't know what you're doing. You're 98 years old. You have no clue what's happening. But then, yeah, she explained it, and I figured it out.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on your book. Today's a big day.
Yeah, thank you. This is it. It's here. I'm holding it. I got a nice endorsement from both The Rock and Becky Lynch in the front and the back. It's very cool. It's surreal. It's actually happening. You know, I remember texting Becky about it, but I first ran the idea by you and Danny, and you guys gave me your complete support on it. So thank you.
Well, I mean, look, it's my pleasure, and I'm sure Becky's pleasure too as well. As she's read it, she's loved the book too. I haven't read the book because I don't know how to read yet, but when I do, I'll let you know how it is. But man, we're very happy for you. But also too, like, we're just all of us, Seth included, just we all know your impact that you've had on the business, man, and it's a really special thing. And I'm just really happy for you that you were able to write this book and share a lot of those crazy stories that you have back at a time when, I mean, in a way, it was like the Wild Wild West when you came into town before a publicly traded company, I think, right?
Yeah.
It was just all those crazy stories you were able to share, man. So I love the book. I think it's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I have a great idea, you know, because we're going to be shooting season 3 of Young Rock soon. So, you know, and not in Australia this year. So if you would like, before you go to bed, I could read you a chapter right before you fall asleep, you know, and that way you could just like drift, you know, into sleepy time with a different chapter every day. I'm making that offer if you're interested.
Will you be in bed with me? Is that what you're offering?
Or I was thinking it would be more like sitting at like Fred Savage and the Princess Bride with Peter Falk kind of thing. But, you know, if you prefer it that way.
Another reference. Okay, great. Good. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm totally good. I read the book already. Don't need you sitting in the bedroom reading the book to me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
While I have you, and while, of course, you have Seth and Becky here, are there any stories from the book that you think audiences right now would just love to hear? Not the full story, but like anything from the book that you want to bring up now? Because there's 10 things in the book that you wrote that I was like, man, I can't believe that shit happened.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It's you know, it's really cool that I got to, you know, tell my firsthand perspective of the 3-year like biggest WrestleMania, you know, build of all time between you and John Cena. Yeah. You know, I was all of a sudden turned into Chris Farley. Like, you remember when you fought John Cena at WrestleMania? That was awesome. There was, you know, that was cool. And then, you know, all the stuff that, you know, we were able to do, and it talked about, you know, the promo segment that we did with Becky on SmackDown Live.
Share this with you really quick. You know what was really cool was when the Shield attacked me before the WrestleMania, and then powerbombed me. And I remember Seth. I was on Roman's shoulders. And Seth in particular threw me down so hard on that mat, busted my blood vessels. Blood started coming up out of my mouth, and he looked down, Roman looked down and was like, "You okay, Uso?" Called me brother and someone. I was like, and before I could answer, Seth was like, "Who gives it?" He walked away.
You know, this was 10 years ago. I don't have a full recollection of this memory. You know, we did powerbomb you twice. Once in the dark through a table, and then another time we made you bleed your own blood.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one, you know, was which. There's a lot of things that happen in the heat of the moment. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
He said he regretted nothing. And he would do it again tomorrow. Or better yet, he would do it in SoFi Stadium as a tag team versus you and Brian. That's what he said.
Oh, and let me tell you, that match was all of 30 seconds. If Brian, I can tell you, who's going to take the ball on that.
I don't know. I've been doing squat thrusts. I feel I'm, you know, getting in, you know, the ring rust of lifetime ring rust is wearing off. You know, I will say this, you know, you said that story about the power bomb. I did, you know, and I write about it in the book too, you know, in a time that is never, ever, this will never be replicated. You know, I think you were there when we got snowed in SmackDown 2000, and we were just all like kind of futzing around the ring, and Shane was like, "Brian, come in the ring. Let's do a power bomb." And Bubba Dudley took me, Devon took me, like raised me up to Bubba's, you know, he was up on the second rope. Like there's a whole crowd. Like thankfully, this is 2000, February 2000. There's no cell phones or anything like that taking video. And Shane is like, "Tuck your head in." I'm like, "What?" And we're airborne. And yeah, Bubba powerbombed me off the second rope. I did tuck my head in. I felt amazing afterwards. I felt like a world beater. Like, yeah, like, yeah, I just took a bump. And walking around the hotel, you know, the Baltimore lobby, you know, ordering like an Amstel Light or something like hardcore like that. And like really feeling, you know, my oats then. But can you imagine, like, you guys, I can't imagine like a writer taking a power bomb during rehearsal or anything like that. Just the absolute pandemonium that would, the footage that would leak, the lawsuits is insane.
There's a few of them I'd love to give a power bomb to these days, but yeah, I don't think that would fly. I don't think that shit would fly these days.
While I have you, Seth, you and Becky, I got to share this story really quickly with you guys. You guys will appreciate it. So it was like, me and Hunter, we were building to some match. I can't remember what it was. And this was, I think this is in the book. Brian, is this in the book?
Yeah, it's in the book.
So we were in Atlanta. We were opening up Atlanta for the first time. It was a stadium in Atlanta, right, Hiram? Brian, I think it was.
Georgia Dome, yeah. It was a huge show.
It was the Dome. It was the first time we were in a Dome. WCW had run the Dome so many times before us, so it was first time in the Dome. And we were closing out the show, and it was a big promo at the top of the show between myself and Triple H. This was the time I told Brian earlier in the day, I was like, I got an idea. You know how when Triple H talks, it sounds like really long-winded, and he's like, and then gonna do this. My name is the game. And I was like, what if I really went in on him and talk some really mad shit about it, and just how like he bores the shit out of people. And so Brian, so we come up with this promo on the back, and I was like, and it's the whole thing, and I do him to a T. And of course that night I think he left me laying, so I'm cool with this kind of opening of the promo. So so now we're called to Vince's office, and it's me, Brian, Triple H, Vince, Stephanie. I don't know, was anyone else in there?
All of DX was in there.
All of DX was in there. Okay, perfect. So Brian, like heat from the moment he's like walking in, every arena. So just by being Brian, by the way, the nicest guy in the world, but a writer. So Vince was like, I said, okay, so I got this idea, and I'm going to make fun of how Triple H talks. And Vince is like, oh, sounds great. Let me hear it. And I could just see already Triple H is like, and he and I were we were buddies, but it was also very competitive. So Vince was, come on, Rock, let me hear it. Let me hear the thing. And I was like, okay, got it. Brian, Sean,
No, but you know, the best part of that was you built it up so well because you did everything but the voice. You were like, oh, Hunter, you're going to love this. So I come out, you guys are in the ring, you're looking at me, and I'm like, you know what, Triple H? Here's what's the problem with you. Every time you open your mouth, it sounds exactly like this. Do the voice. Like, me? And then you're like, yeah, you were doing it backstage. You imitated him so well. It sounded just like him. Do it. And like I see, like Hunter's ears have steam emerging from them. And DX wasn't exactly like rollicking with laughter either. They were like, the fuck? And so, yeah, so I did it. I was like, in this ring, I'm the game, and I'm going to say absolutely nothing. And then, you know that laugh. Vince is like, ha, ha, ha. Perfect. Go ahead and do it. And then, you know, we're just like, all right, thanks. And Hunter's like, yep, okay, sure, yeah, love it. Like he did, you know, that's when you hear Ron Howard. He did not love it. You know, it was very much, it was a great promo, you know, apologize later. It was an awesome promo. It's iconic. People, you know, talk about it today.
that was a good one.
That's great. That's great.
That's tremendous. What about the Michael Hayes stories? The Michael Hayes stories are some of my favorite content in the book. I read the book as well. Becky passed it off to me. Great read. But I love Michael Hayes. He's such a character. People are familiar with the Fabulous Freebirds or maybe some of the stuff he did with Edge and Christian and the Hardys. But as a human being, he's one of the most entertaining people on the planet. And so having stories with him backstage, that's like, I was loving that stuff. I love because he's exactly the same now as he was 20 years ago. So it was tremendous content. Like some of the XFL stuff was great. Oh, just tremendous Michael Hayes stories.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. Yeah, there's like, you know, the book is roughly 47% Michael Hayes stories. But yeah, the XFL, you know, that's when I termed, you know, I was texting with Becky about it. You know, the catchphrase, hair in a tail, no need to bail. Hair undone, your ass better run. Because hair is in a ponytail. It's professional Michael Hayes, and he's booking great matches and awesome finishes. He's booked lots of rock matches. You know, he's been awesome. When it's undone, that means the Beer Wolves come out, and you don't know what's going to happen because it's after the show. So, yeah, there's a whole section dedicated to the very different 2001 XFL than the 2023 XFL, where me and Michael and Bruce were working on it. And he had such a stressful day because he had to be the bodyguard of Stephanie because they fired the sideline reporters after one night, you know, and then replaced them with Stephanie, who was a heel in WWE at the time. And all the fans, she's trying to like, and it's a great night here in San Francisco. Boo! You know, that's the PG version of what they were saying. And Michael had to guard her, and he was so worn down that, yeah, he had a little bit to drink. We played blackjack, and yeah, I write about it. He did something I have literally never seen before, which is run out of chips and take the frightened old lady sitting next to him's chips and putting it on his own area. And I'm like, I don't think that's right, Michael. It's like, she don't mind. You don't mind, do you? And the woman's like, oh, I don't want any trouble. No problem. You can see the dealer is just like, you know, looking very, very concerned and probably tapping what they have in, like when people are robbing banks, tapping these silent alarms under the blackjack table. And then Michael, of course, lost the old lady's money too. And then he left. And then, you know, that's when he was claiming I was his son all night. And my son don't respect me, and just got up and left. Insane.
Oh God, it's such a great book, man. You've done such an incredible job. I'm still writing mine, and I'm really happy that when mine comes out, at least it won't be in direct competition with yours. It's so well written and hilarious.
I can't wait for the Becky Lynch book. That is going to be insane.
Be done with that.
Whenever that gets done.
When do you think you'll be done with that?
Hopefully in the next couple of months. Perfect. Now that I got a bad wing, I got a little bit more time to dedicate to it.
Yeah. How's the injury coming along?
Oh, good. Yeah. I feel like I've gotten a bunch more mobility in it. Because when it happened, it was so painful that I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be out for a long time. But now it's healing up real quick. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling good. So I'm hoping it won't be much time at all.
Great.
Cool.
How's your injury?
Yours?
Wait.
His?
No, Brian, how's your injury?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you were talking to Seth. No, I'm good. I broke my finger in 8th grade and it hasn't healed since. But, that's why I don't play defense in basketball. That's why I tend to, stay at the 3-point line. But yeah, it's coming along. I'm doing well. It's,
Why don't you tell everybody really broke
what's that?
Tell everybody how you really broke it.
That is how I broke it. I broke it going for a rebound and the ball bent the finger back. And that is my story. I'm sticking to it. That's the real story. I don't know what is being implied here, but I assure you it is false narrative.
Oh man. All right. Hey, listen, we should let these two get back to their napping baby. And before we wrap this up, please tell us in the fans one time, and tell Becky and Seth this. Goldberg, who we love, that's our boy. He came into the territory coming out of WCW. He was the last one who came in, and he comes in first night. We sit down, and I think this is in the book, right? So I'm not.
Well, this is the inspiration to the title of the book. So yeah, it's definitely in there.
So we sit down at the table, and we're gonna have a big promo. Me, you, and him. He's gonna come out. He's going to give me the big spear. That's how the show is going to end. Goldberg finally makes his debut in WWE. And then we go on to have a couple of pay-per-views, and he goes on to beat my ass. And then we do that. Tell everybody what happened. They're at the table. We're sitting there, promo time. And I say, yeah, Bill, we could do something like this. And then you jump in and say, yeah, it's kind of similar to.
Yeah, the simplest promo you could ever have. Rock's running his mouth. I've done all there is to do. I've beaten everybody. Goldberg comes out and spears him. That's it. And people anticipated this because there were this was the day after Mania, after the big Rock Austin match. So everyone was anticipating it. I'm like, great, you know what we could do? We do this great thing. We did this thing with Rock and Hogan in Chicago where they're standing face to face and they're like each looking at the crowd, and it's this iconic moment. And Rock's like, yeah, we could do that. That sounds good. And then Bill's just like, yep. There's just one problem. I ain't Hulk Hogan. Intense stare. Intense. And then Rock and I do like the little
Bill,
look to each other.
Hole through Brian. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Rock and I are looking at Rock and I are looking at each other like Lando and Lobot in Empire Strikes Back after Han Solo gets frozen, just like, are you seeing this shit? So I knew no one would make that reference, but it amused me. So afterwards, I said, okay, great. You know what? No problem. Not catching on.
By the way, when Bill said, I ain't Hulk Hogan, of course, me being me, I turned to Brian and go, I fucking told you he's not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Do that. Brian's like, no, I know. I've done that. Okay, I got something else. And then
so not taking a hint at all, oblivious. I go, you know what? That's no problem, Bill. This is going to be perfect because what we could do is you could stalk him on stage. You could like have this big pacing back and forth while he's running his mouth in the ring. Because we did this promo with Rock and Jericho where Rock was going on and on. I can see Rock going like, I don't think it's a good idea. And then Bill's like, There's just one problem. I ain't Chris Jericho. Again, intense stare. And this literally could have gone on for hours.
Is this the first time that you guys interacted with this man? This is the first time?
First time I ever interacted, not Rock.
Yeah, Brian's interacted. I saw him a few times. That's just out, when we were crisscrossing at like airports or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, but he was the very last one. And when I saw him out in an event. And I remember we talked for a little bit and I was like, dude, I think there's a pathway here. I think you should consider coming in. We could do some big business. You're the man. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So he came in, but he kind of came in at that time, understandably so. He had his head on a swivel, a little unsure of what was around him. You know what I mean? So, and all of a sudden he's sitting in front of Brian, and Brian's hitting him with the Hogan and the Jericho.
He did not have a great relationship with wrestling writers at the time. So I understand where he's coming from. And we get along great now, but that could have been like literally like 2 hours later, like, there's just one problem. I ain't George Hackenschmidt, or, you know, whatever. I ain't Haystacks Calhoun, okay? I also ain't Gorgeous George. Like, we could have gone on. Like what in the history of the business has there not been a confrontation that you would like to do? Because we could do that, you know. And then I watched the promo back. It was basically you kind of just like circling each other. And then, you know, he hit the spear. So thankfully that had never been done ever. And, you know, we satisfied Bill, we satisfied you, the audience, Vince, everybody. It worked out fine. And it gave me a title for a book. So, yeah, we got
So buy the book,
the cover.
people.
Yeah.
Just one problem.
Great.
And
Great book.
congrats on your book, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much for coming on and doing this here with me.
Seth and Becky, so good to see you guys.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you, guys. Good to see everybody.
And congratulations again, Brian. It's awesome. Well done.
Awesome. Thank you. And now I got to figure out how to turn this off.
All right.
Good luck.
Go enjoy
Thank
that
you.
ice, guys.
See ya.